Avtar Meher Baba Ki Jai. So let's start with the seven realities. Why don't you take over,
Okay,
Shukri?
just one sec. You want me to? The screen is.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's not even showing shared screen. My apologies.
Hey, it's okay. Avatar Bhir Baba Ki Jai. The seven realities: existence, love, sacrifice, renunciation, knowledge, control, and surrender. I give no importance to creed, dogma, caste, or the performance of religious ceremonies and rites, but to the understanding of the following. One, the only real existence is that of the one and only God, who is the self in every finite self. Two, the only real love is the love for this infinity God, which arouses an intense longing to see, know, and become one with its truth, God. Three, the only real sacrifice is that in which, in pursuance of this love, all things body, mind, position, welfare, and even life itself are sacrificed. Fourth, the only real renunciation is that which abandons, even in the midst of worldly duties, all selfish thoughts and desires. Five, the only real knowledge is the knowledge that God is the inner dweller in good people and in so called bad, in saint and in so called sinner. This knowledge requires you to help all equally as circumstances demand without expectation of reward. When compelled to take part in a dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, to try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, and to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you. The only real control is the discipline of the senses to abstain from indulgence in low desires, which alone ensures absolute purity of character. 7. The only real surrender is that in which poise is undisturbed by any adverse circumstance, and the individual, amidst every kind of hardship, is resigned with perfect calm to the will of God. Avatar Meher Baba Vijay. Thank you, Karthik.
Baba Ki Jai. Thank you very much. And as I said in my message, inviting you all to join this session, we are culminating the reading of the mm, the glimpses, the Bal Natu 5 volume book. Hopefully today, we've done 86 sessions before this. This is session number 87. This has been our longest reading. So thank you all for being with us. Thank you, Baba, and thank you, Bal Natu, for such a beautiful gift that gave in every page. Okay, so with that, let's get started on page 279. This is volume 5. Yeah, Baba is returning from Andhra, and that's where we pick up action. Okay. Anybody wants to read first, or I read for a bit? Okay.
Go second. So maybe somebody can
Okay.
start and then I can, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'll read for a bit and then Ashok, do you also want to read?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay, then let me read for 10, 15 minutes then.
Yeah, yeah.
And blah. Jai Baba.
Sure.
Who made the sick bogie fit? When we arrived at the railway station and went to the booking office, Manikyala Rao, greeted us. Surprised us for Manik. Oh, hold on. Okay, read again. When we arrived at the railway station and went to the booking office, Manikyala Rao greeted us. This surprised us, for Manik had left on March 2nd, and Baba had subsequently asked many of his workers residing in different places in Andhra Pradesh to return to their homes and not wait to see him off at Samal Court. It wasn't until much later that we learned the full story behind Manik's presence in the booking office that morning. On March 2nd, after the workers' meeting, many were getting ready to leave to their homes. Among those who stood up as if he was to leave was Manik. Baba looked at him in surprise and asked, "Why are you standing?" "I have to go to Vijayawada, Baba," Manik replied. "Why?" "I have to make some train reservations for you." "Who asked you to do that?" Baba wanted to know. Manik replied humbly, "No one, Baba, but I overheard the arrangements Pendu wants to make on the 4th, and I am going to talk to my officer at Vijayawada about it." It had been decided that on March 4th, when Baba and party left Andhra, one entire third class compartment should be reserved exclusively for the Mandali. Also, one second class, four berth compartment with an attached coupe for Baba and a few of the Mandali should be obtained. But Manik, who worked for the railways, knew that it would not be possible to make such arrangements at Samal Court. Although no one had asked him to handle this, he took it upon himself to make the necessary arrangements. Accordingly, Manik went to Vijayawada and managed to reserve one third class compartment for the Mangli and a separate bogie car, which would be attached at Voltaire. I think that's Vishakhapatnam, old name of Vishakhapatnam, and which contained a second class coupe and a four berth sleeper. Once these arrangements were made, Manik told his officer he was going to Samal Court to make sure that all went smoothly on March 4th when Baba and his party left. But early on the morning of the 4th, Manik received a call from his officer in Vijayawada with the news that the movement officer at Voltaire had just phoned to inform him that the reserved second class bogie had been declared sick. In railway parlance, sick means the car has been deemed unfit to travel. Therefore, the bogie could not be attached to the train, and as there was no standby bogie at Voltaire, the train would not have a second class coupe and four berth compartment on it. Manik was greatly alarmed to hear this. He requested his officer, Mr. Amritraj, to do something for God's sake and to prevail upon the officer at Voltaire to get the bogie fit enough at least to travel as far as Vijayawada, where it could be replaced with another bogie. Mr. Amritraj promised to do his best. So it was that Manik was still anxiously awaiting word on the bogie situation when Pankraj and I arrived. As it turned out, it was fortunate for us that Manik was there, for ordinarily it would have been impossible for us to purchase the return tickets for all those traveling with Baba. This was because tickets were only sold to nearby stations or junctions along the route, while some of those with Baba wanted to get down at small distant stations and even more wanted to change trains en route. Manik, anticipating our difficulties, entreated the clerk in a friendly way to make out tickets for the final destination for each one in our party. To facilitate matters, Manik began calculating the distances involved, how many miles to Nagpur, to Kanpur, etc., so he could advise the clerk on how much he should charge. Tickets were sold on a per mile basis. "Don't worry," Manik assured him. "If it turns out that any ticket has been underpriced, I will pay the difference." Thus, because of Manik's help, the Mandali and others were spared much bother and were able to get direct tickets at Samal Court for the entire journey home. This whole procedure took quite some time, and it was not long after this that Baba arrived at the station. Manik went over to see Baba, perhaps to mention the problem that had arisen with the reserved bogie, but just then a phone call came for him. Baba gestured, "First, go see what it's all about." Manik went and discovered that it was his officer in Vijayawada who had called to inform him that the bogie had been repaired well enough at Voltaire to travel at least as far as Vijayawada. Relieved to hear this good news, Manik returned to Baba, who immediately asked what the phone call had been about. Manik explained the entire matter to Baba, who looked pleased when the end result was announced. After hearing Manik's whole story, Baba inquired solicitously, "Now, what about your food? I will take something, Baba," Manik replied. But this answer did not satisfy Baba, who called Pendu over and gestured, "You people are having sumptuous food and you have ignored this man who is working for you. Now take him to the refreshment room and see that he has everything you enjoy." This was Baba's way of expressing to Manik his concern and affection. In fact, Baba had not asked Manik to help make the travel arrangements, but now it was clear that he appreciated Manik's consideration and doing this work on his own. Baba has his own ways of getting his work done through his lovers and those connected with him. He works behind the seven curtains quietly to accomplish what he wants, but he arranges things so that his lovers may feel that they are the ones who have accomplished something in his cause. This is one of the personal aspects of Baba's impersonal working, a part of his Leela and an expression of his unconditional work. So I think this is a very nice way of understanding what many of us might have experienced as well. He works behind the seven curtains quietly to accomplish what he wants, but he arranges things so that his lovers may feel that they are the ones who have accomplished something in his cause. This is one of the personal aspects of Baba's impersonal working, a part of his Leela and an expression of his unconditional love. Okay. So I was just reminded of all the childhood drama around trains and tickets, the paper tickets, and having to go and stand in lines, and it was all very complex and very intriguing, right? You had these fairs, you had this booklet that gets published every year. If you guys recollect, which tells you what's the price from one station to another. So it was all very adult like and very responsible for a kid like me when I used to hear talks about this. So it brought back all those memories. And I'm a big train fan. So it was
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
reading this section.
Also, there were this reservation forms. You have to mention the age.
It's still there, by the way. By the way, the
It's still
reservation
there.
form, yeah, it's still there. So you can actually walk in, and there are people who still do that. Maybe less than 1% of the tickets are still sold in the counter on reservation, and people actually fill out that form. Yeah, yeah. It used to be limited to
Long
four
time
tickets or
ago,
five tickets. Mhm.
yeah, all the Baba lovers used to go to from Delhi. They would get a train to Ahmednagar. That
Okay.
was my first experience of train journeys. Also, of course, yeah, there's some more, but yeah, this was one of the more prominent ones.
Okay.
And then reservations were made months ahead. And
Yeah.
every year, towards the last minute, there'll be people, oh, I also want to go. I don't have a
Changing.
ticket.
Yeah.
How do I
Yeah.
go? And what should I do? And waitlisted and this and that.
Yeah.
There's always a drama around that train journey.
And do you
Absolutely
remember
true.
the khaki cardboard tickets?
Hockey,
Those
cardboard
those
thing. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
those
do
that get
remember.
punched by the machine. Yeah, they get
Yeah,
punched and numbered in that
yeah,
old
yeah,
machine. All
yeah,
British
correct.
uh, relics, but then I miss all
Mm.
that.
And they were good for those
Right.
times.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
I mean,
worked. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Really
Mm.
very nice memories you brought. There also used to be RAC, Reservation Against Cancellation.
Yeah.
Still there, still there.
Yeah, it's still
So,
there.
yeah. There used to be
Yeah.
charts outside the bogies, telling people
Till
who's
very
seated where.
recently. Yeah, till very recently, and now they have discontinued that. In fact, for a very good reason, for actually
I
privacy
see.
reasons, because it
Privacy.
exposes the name and age of the person who's next to you.
Mhm.
So let's say you're a curious cat, you can go and find out who are the people sitting around you.
Right.
Yeah.
So to avoid that, now the chaps are no longer you know, pasted on the logis.
Published. Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Good.
that's that. It's very interesting. And Baba has done so much of train travel. There must be a reason. Okay, let's continue. Maybe I can let one of you take over if you're ready, or I can go on for some more time.
Need 5 more minutes. Sorry. My
Okay, no
apologies.
problem. Ashokji, you can go ahead
Yeah.
if you're okay.
Baba
Jai
helps.
Baba.
Yeah, Jai Baba. Baba helps those who long to obey. Our train arrived at Samalkot a little after noon. It was a passenger train originating Puri and going all the way to Pune. We had traveled from Pune to Vijayawada on it on February 19th, and we were returning by the same train approximately 2 weeks later. The second class bogie, which had been made fit at Voltaire, and the third class compartment reserved for the Mandali were both locked so that no one else could use them. When they were opened, we piled in with all of our luggage. As the train pulled out of the station, we saw a big crowd had congregated. They folded their hands and lowered their heads as a parting salutation to beloved Baba. We could see tears trickling down some cheeks. Baba's visit had provided a blessed relief to the eyes and hearts of his dear ones. Standing at the door of his compartment, Baba silently raised his hands to convey his love and blessings to all. In return, the crowd responded by shouting out joyously, Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. As the train pulled away, we could see white handkerchiefs waving in the distance. Around 2, we reached Rajamundry. There, there were many, there too many had gathered to get their last glimpse of Baba, the awakener of their hearts. After this brief but touching reunion where Baba's lovers took the opportunity to garland him one more time and to offer him their loving namaskar. Baba called for Manik, who was traveling with us as far as Vijayawada. If I give you a special assignment, will you carry it out? Baba asked Manik. Most happily, Manik replied. Baba explained that Janki, the daughter of Sampath Iyengar, was waiting at Vijayawada with her family. They had traveled from Madras and Baba had given them permission to come and see him at the train station. But knowing that there was bound to be a large group of Andhra lovers as well, Baba was worried that this dear family would not get a chance to take full advantage of their limited time. Baba wanted Manik to go to Vijayawada, contact Janki, and explain to all there that Janki's family should come see him first. Only after Baba gave them darshan were the others to approach him. Manik replied that he would do his best to comply with Baba's wish. But how will he do it? Baba gestured, expressing surprise. Baba, this is a passenger train. The Howrah Madras mail will overtake this train and reach Vijayawada first. I will simply get down and get into the mail, and that way I will be there in time to deliver your message. Baba looked pleased, even a little impressed at this clever solution to what had seemed to be a problem.
Was you here? Sampath Iyengar is one of the most prominent Tamil and I think the most prominent follower of lover of Baba in Chennai. It is his house that now is the Temple of Silence. And if you all remember, I had shared some photographs of the tree, right? So he's talked, the last paragraph refers to Sampath Iyengar and his daughter. And it's his daughter is traveling from Chennai to Vijayawada on the mail that's going towards Howrah, right? Okay, let's
Yeah,
continue.
yeah, we remember those photographs. It's really,
Yeah, very, very special family. Baba gave a lot of importance to that family, and that family was completely dedicated to Baba. Even now, I think there's the family does not have the last male son is a Baba lover, and I have met him. He's Niranjan. He's in Chennai, and then the daughters never got married, right? And he's also single. So I think we're going to see a lull in that bloodline, but a very, very dear family for sure to Baba, and of course, I mean, what they did for Baba. Okay.
thanks for sharing. Uh, Manik got down from the train and went to the station master's office to find out when the Howrah Madras mail would be arriving. He was informed that the train was running almost 2 hours behind schedule. Doing a little quick calculating, Manik realized that there was more than enough time for him to travel to Nidavulu, the next junction where he could catch the mail train, as it would take only 40 minutes to get there. So instead of getting down at Rajmundry, Manik couldn't resist the temptation of spending 40 more minutes with Baba's bundle. At Nidavulu, again got down and inquired when the mail would arrive. He was still he was told that it was still running an hour late, as it would take another 40 minutes or so to reach Tadapalli. Manik again figured that he could stay on the train until reaching there and then get down. However, 11 kilometers from Nidavulu, as the train
Just
pulled
pause
to
you, and you can, yeah, I'll just pause you. So the passenger train, so what's happening is there are two trains going in the same direction, one running late. Okay. And Manik has to catch the train that's running late and reach before the slower train that Baba is taking to tell people in Vijayawada. And he is tempted to spend more and more time. And the passenger train stops in every station, right? So in every station, he's stopping and checking of how far behind the other train which is running late. Now let's see what happens. Just start from the paragraph. However,
However, 11 kilometers from Nidavulu, as the train pulled into Navapalam with Tere Paligudam still 2 stops away, it was shunted onto a side track. Manik felt a cold chill running down his spine because he knew what this meant. He had been misinformed about how late the mail was running and it was about to overtake them at any minute. Sure enough, soon the mail rode past them without stopping, speeding onto Tadepalligudam. But it would be gone before Malik got there. When the train did pull into Tadepalligudam, Baba called Manik. What is this? You said you were going to catch the mail, but it has already passed us. Manik did not know what to say. He felt very much ashamed. Nervously, he explained what had happened and then concluded with a rush. But Baba Even at Vijayawada, you'll find a way to see that your message gets delivered. Despite these brave words, however, Manik had no idea how he could do this and left Baba's compartment in a quiet state. Once there were many lovers at the station to greet Baba. Once again, there were many lovers at the station to greet Baba. Dr. Dhanapati approached Baba and asked his permission to offer tea and snacks to Baba and his party. Baba graciously consented, and so Dhanapati and Bhaskara Raju lovingly offered refreshments for all. But I doubt that Manik relished anything he ate or drank. After about 2 hours later, near 5:30 that afternoon, we arrived at Eluru. Here an amusing incident took place. After pulling into the station, some people wheeling long hand carts piled high with baskets approached the Mandali's compartment and began unloading everything into the already overcrowded space. Somehow the Mandali went to the door and began pressing and started to push everything out when Kattasabarao appeared and explained that this mountain of baskets contained provisions for Baba's party. There were fruits, sweets, bread, packages of butter, containers of yogurt, and crates of orange juice. The orange juice we gratefully drank, and then and there, and the rest of the refreshments were stored for Baba to distribute later on. It was after 7 that night when the train began to pull into the Vijayawada railway yard, one of the largest in India. Manik was still very worried about how he could possibly carry out Baba's orders when the train stopped at an outer signal, still quite a distance from the actual station and platforms. This meant that another train was at the platform where the passenger train was supposed to arrive. Therefore, our train had to wait until the platform was free. Manik, for the first time since Tadepalli Guddam, felt a ray of hope and jumped on the train. He began running along the railway track to the station itself, which was around a mile away. By the time he reached platform 7, where the train was supposed to arrive, he was so exhausted that he collapsed. Although he was tormented by the thought that after running all that way, he might not be able to deliver the message after all, he could not get up. Finally, after a minute or two, he regained his strength and got to his feet. Once more, he set off, but now he had only enough energy to walk slowly. But he soon saw the crowd of Baba lovers who had gathered and approached them to inform the prominent workers about Baba's wish that none approach him for darshan until the family from Madras saw Baba. Having done this, he began looking for Janki's family to tell them the good news. Someone had told him that they might be in the waiting room, and he started for there when he saw a family which he did not recognize standing on the platform itself. He approached and asked, "Do you belong to Sampath Iyengar's family from Madras?" Yes, Mani felt immensely relieved and in a very happy mood conveyed Baba's instructions to them. It is indeed amazing how Baba helped Manik to be able to obey his instructions. Perhaps he would have saved himself many anxious hours if he had simply gotten down at Rajamundri to begin with, but the opportunity to spend a few extra minutes in the company of Baba's Mandali proved irresistible. Even so, his wholehearted desire to atone for his lapse, or such that Baba gave Manik a second chance. In fact, Baba continues to help in his silent, loving way anyone who really longs to obey him. Just as Manik finished delivering his message to Janki's family, Baba's train pulled into the station. Perfect timing. Uh, Karthik, if you can go back, this sentence, in fact, Baba
Yeah,
continues to help in a silent, loving way anyone who really longs to obey him. I think you can underline it or
sure. Yeah, yeah.
darshan treat for Janki's family. C.V. Sampath Iyengar was one of Meher Baba's early disciples from Madras. In the late 20s, with the help of K.S. Srinivasan and Mr. and M.M. Vaidolu, he formed a small dedicated group of Baba lovers in that city. Being in the judiciary of the Madras Residency, he was often out of the city on duty, but he still found time to conduct many Baba programs at his house, which he renamed Meher Bhavan. Sampath
Just for
Iyengar,
context, Iyengars are very, very traditional and very focused on rituals and the tradition, right? So, uh, in that from that community to be able to do what he has done in 1920 is remarkable, right? Yeah,
absolutely, because
just
Sampath,
tells you the way Baba works. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and also this incident about the Manik and his how he delivered the message is
yeah,
interesting.
very, very interesting and touching.
Yeah, Sampath Iyengar was a very sincere and earnest person, a man not only of great scholarship but of spiritual vision as well. Even before meeting Baba in his daily life, he was engaged in an attempt to put his spiritual ideals into practice. It seems from the first he was drawn to Baba, wholeheartedly accepting his Babaji, as he used to call Meher Baba, as the living Christ. His love for Baba was profound, and he possessed a remarkable understanding of Baba's teachings. In March 1930, during Baba's visit to Meher Bhavan, he approved the formation of Meher League, a group devoted to spreading Baba's teachings. Also, Baba inaugurated Meher Ashramam in the presence of Meher Bhavan, in the premises of Meher Bhavan, by planting a tree in the courtyard. This was to be the site for Baba's gatherings in the future. During Baba's stay with Sampath Iyengar's family, it was decided that a quarterly Meher Gazette should be published with V.T. Lakshmi, Sampath's talented daughter, as the editor. Despite these many activities, Baba found the time at Sampath's request to help his grandson Kasturi write his first letter on a slate. It's a Hindu custom that the family have their children initiated into the process of education by having the family's guru or some spiritual figure they look up to hold the child's hand and write Om or some other sacred word or symbol on a slate. Out of his love for Sampath Iyengar, Baba graciously, our, graciously, considered to do this for Kasturi. So, Karthik, have you ever met any of these people? Or
Yes, I have met Janaki's daughter, I think.
okay,
So next generation.
good, good.
And Janaki's, I think, the grandson of mm, Sampatayangar, Mr. Mehernath, and his son Niranjan. These are the two people I met. Mehernath has since dropped, passed away. Niranjan, I have not been in touch for a very long time. Both of them, they were in Chennai, and they were also very deeply into Baba. Mehernath it was an amazing experience meeting Mehernath in Chennai. Mehernath, as I said, I think is the grandson of Sampradaya. So I don't know who is Mehernath's mother, Janaki or the other lady. What's the name? The VT Lakshmi. So I don't know who is right, but roughly that's what I think. Yeah.
Baba's last visit to Meher Bhavan was in April 1947, a few years after Sampath Iyengar passed away. At the end of this visit, Baba allowed the family members to wash his feet with milk and honey in the early hours of the morning, a rare privilege given by Baba to this dear family. Given such intimacy over so many years with the Iyengar family, it is not surprising that Baba allowed Janki to come for his darshan at Vijayawada, or that he took pains to ensure that they would have some private moments with him. Janki had last seen Baba the year before in January 1953 while Baba was at Eluru. At that time, she had come with her son Kasturi and his wife Leela, who was expecting a baby. Baba blessed the couple and casually mentioned that if Leela had a girl, she should be named Meher Kanti. This time, Janki was accompanied not only by her two daughters, her son Kasturi and his wife Leela, but also by her 10-month-old granddaughter Meher Kanti.
Wait a minute. Janaki is male.
Sorry?
Says Janaki Sampath's other daughter, but then he says Janaki. This time Janaki was accompanied not only by her two daughters, her son Kasturi and his wife. Oh, okay, okay, and his wife Leela, but also by her 10-month-old granddaughter Meher Kanti. Okay, so the son is Kasturi. So it's still not Mehernath. I don't know who is Mehernath now. Okay, sorry. I got confused.
Yeah, okay. The family arrived at the station on the morning of March 4th and put up at the retiree room. They had to wait for the full day. However, as Baba's train was not expected until early that night, Mayor Kanti had a fever and was very restless, and the hours seemed to drag by. Although Janki's excitement at the prospect of seeing beloved Baba soon could not be diminished. Fi- Finally, they assembled on the platform well before Baba's train was due, carrying with them a vessel full of halwa prepared with love by Janki's dear mother. As none in the family knew when they would next see Baba, they had decided to avail themselves of this opportunity to request Baba to initiate Meher Kanti as he had her father Kasturi. In the hopes of in the hopes that Baba would consent, they brought him they brought with them a slate and a slate pen. As they were standing on the platform, Manik, whom they had not met before, approached them and informed them that Meher Baba wished to see them first when he arrived. They were overjoyed to hear this, and when Baba's train pulled in, they rushed to his second class carriage. The other Baba lovers obediently waited their turn and allowed Janki's family to be ushered first into Baba's presence. They entered Baba's compartment with their eyes riveted on Baba's winsome, smiling face, and their hearts were filled with joy. For Janki, once again, time stood still in the overwhelming immediacy of Baba's presence. His divine embrace thrilled all of them. So there's so much of love and for Baba, they were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Janki humbly offered the halwa to Baba as a gift from Meher Bhavan, and Baba accepted it with great delight. Perhaps he was remembering his dear Sampath and his wife. Then Janki asked Baba if he would be willing to initiate Meher Kanti. Baba looked surprised for a second, perhaps because of the child's tender age, but he lovingly agreed. Janki handed Baba the slate and the slate pen she had brought. Mayor Kanti, on the other hand, because of her fever and noise and confusion of the railway station, appeared less enthusiastic about the whole procedure.
So this thing is called Akshara Abhyasam. Okay, so this is very southern. I don't know, maybe it happens in the north as well. But everybody, I have gone through this. My son has gone through this. So we spread out rice, and usually it's done in a temple or like by a guru. And you use a slate pen, or often you just spread rice and use a golden ring or something, and use the ring to make a shape of a letter in the rice. So you're basically writing on rice using a gold, uh, what do you call, a ring, right? So it's basically to bless your educational journey. It starts your literacy, and it starts your journey on the education path in a divine way. That's what is the symbolism of this.
Yeah, I'm just a little curious. What is the slate pen? It was used to be chalk
Nothing
and
but a
paper.
chalk, yeah. I think must be a chalk, must be a chalk that fits into something, something
Okay,
fancier than a chalk, yeah.
I thought as much. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll end. I'll go through this, and then I mean, there are others who would like to read. I would try end this session, this part anyway. She was carrying most of the time and refused to be
She
taken
was
out.
crying, she was crying.
She was crying. Okay, sorry. She was crying most of the time and refused to be taken out of her mother's arms. Even so, with the loving patience so characteristic of Baba, he blessed her and held her tiny hand in his as he guided it while he drew on the slate the picture of a mischievous chicken. In all, the family had nearly 15 precious minutes with Baba, and then, taking his permission with gratitude written on their faces, they got down from Baba's compartment. Adi and Jal, Baba's brother, then spent time with the family, while the other Andhra lovers got the opportunity to have Baba's darshan. Jal was an old familiar of the family, having visited them since the 20s at Baba's request. As the train prepared to pull out, Baba came to the door of his bogie so that everyone could see him one last time. The hearts of his lovers were enveloped with the joy of seeing Baba, yet tingled with the poignancy of parting. Kasturi took some pictures of Baba inside his compartment as well as a few of Baba standing at the door as the train pulled out. These are probably the last photos taken of Baba during his second Andhra visit. He looks tired, but nonetheless full of compassionate love. All stood on the platform and waved and followed Baba's bogie with their eyes until it was out of sight. But they surely tried to follow him with their hearts as far as their lover could take them. When Janki's family returned to their room at the station, they noticed that Meher Kanti was now fast asleep and her fever was completely gone. A blessed grandchild of Sampat Iyengar.
Blessed great grandchild. So maybe even Mehernath was great grandchild. I'm sorry if I've confused you, gentlemen, but I will try to find out and give you a family tree if possible. Gives me
Yeah,
an excuse to reach out to Niranjan.
a blessed grandchild of Sampat Iyengar.
Okay, so like my question, maybe we can take the reading, and I have some good news and some personally embarrassing news. So we're not finishing the reading today because we're just finishing volume 5. If you look up here, there's another 200, 300 pages to go. So I don't know what made me think that we are getting to the end of all the volumes. So a little embarrassing for me, but yeah, we have a good 10 to 15 more sessions to go. So then,
Yeah,
what's that?
I, I
10 to
can take
15
over.
more
Yeah,
sessions.
sorry. I mean, it's a happy news. It's not embarrassing news. I
No,
was little.
embarrassing for me because I was thinking it's over.
No, this book is so nice
So
that
nice. Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
So I'm happy that we
It's
have
good news indeed.
some way
Yeah.
to go further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ashok
Uh,
ji, and yes, Sunil
Yeah, thank you, Jay
okay, I'll
Baba.
I'll take over. Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Don't bend Baba's guidelines to suit your ends. As it turned out, Baba did not have a change bogies at all. Baba did not have to change bogies at all. At Vijayawada, his bogie was truly checked and repaired so he could travel all the way to Pune in it. Not long after leaving Vijayawada, we began unrolling our bedding. Around 15 people had gotten down at Vijayawada to catch trains for Hamirpur and Nagpur, so we were not as tightly crowded as we had been. Still, every piece of space, including the aisles, was needed to accommodate us. Most were exhausted from the darshan trip and went to sleep without difficulty. A few, however, remained awake in turns to see that others didn't squeeze into our reserved compartment when the train stopped at each station along the way. To backtrack a little, there was a personal incident which occurred that day which I would like to recount. Between Samalkot and Vijayawada, Baba periodically visited the Mandali's compartments, spending some time with his close ones. When Baba visited us after Eluru, he saw a pile of baskets which had been given by K. Subbarao. Baba appreciated his hospitality and then began distributing the contents of those returning to Hamirpur and Nagpur districts, gesturing that they should share this with their families and friends. After personally handing out various items to a few, Baba told Sadashiv Patel and Sawak to divide the rest among those in the compartment. I received some fruit, delicacies, and a packet of sweets wrapped in a shiny plastic bag. Sometime later, Baba asked us if we had enough for our supper. All said it was ample. Then, with a twinkle in his eyes, Baba counted You are extremely well fed in Andhra. Some of you must have even put on weight. But starting tomorrow, none of you should eat anything that's left over from Andhra. At the next station, Baba got down and returned to his coupe. I didn't know what effect this seemingly simple instruction had on others, but for me, after my supper, it precipitated a bit of a problem, a little conflict. For years, my body had been frail and my digestion delicate. It gets upset even if I overeat just a little, hence I am careful never to have too much. I had eaten what I could for supper and put the sweets on the overhead rack to enjoy it with my breakfast or lunch the following day. But now Baba's instructions made that impossible. I have a sweet tooth and I did not want to forego the pleasure of the sweets. But I knew if I ate them, I would not be able to digest them. So, what to do? As with most temptations, it sounds trivial, and yet I could not simply put the matter out of my mind. I found my attention wandering to the thought of the sweets, and my eye kept periodically glancing up the shiny packet above my head. No, no one knew what was happening within me. I looked calm, but I wasn't. See how even such a simple, straightforward instruction of Baba's can bring to the surface deep-rooted yet often unsuspected attachments. I was jolted out of my preoccupation by the dramatic change in the sound of the train that made as it rattled over the tracks. Suddenly there was an extra loud clattering as we passed over a long bridge with iron fretwork on both sides. This not only distracted me from my temptation, but inspired me to discover a solution to my problem. Without hesitation, I reached up and took the packet of sweets down from the rack and then happily dropped them out of the window to disappear in the current of the river we were crossing. The conflict was resolved. I felt so relieved that I was left with a sweet taste in my mouth, even though I hadn't eaten a single sweet. And it seemed that with the packet, I also managed to throw away a temptation that might eventually have prompted me to disobey Baba. This little incident may appear quite innocuous, but it taught me an important lesson. If we resolve to obey Baba, the problems created by our temptations resolve themselves in a natural way. To some, it may not seem very critical whether I kept a few sweets to enjoy the next day or not, but initial disobedience always seems insignificant and justifiable. Sometimes the temptation to disobey appears alluringly sweet, but within it lies long snares of bitterness. Simply trying honestly to follow Baba without attempting to bend his guidelines to suit own convenience is the safest and sweetest path. The next morning, yeah, this is important.
I'm just good. Yeah, I thought, yeah.
The next morning, March 5, the sun with its lovely hues and golden rays appeared on the eastern horizon, an everyday, ever-renewing miracle which is ignored by most people. For me, it was a great delight to watch that resplendent ball, looking so small, although thousands of times bigger than Earth, quietly keeping company with each one in the moving train. Does not the spiritual sun, the avatar, in spite of being the infinite one, offer to become a companion to each? The problem is that although we need him, we do not always want him. Unlike the previous day, Baba did not visit the Mandali's compartment, and the day passed without any special incident except for one small personal detail that I recall. Near midday, the train reached Raichur, where lunch had been ordered in advance for us all. We quickly rushed to the refreshment room to eat the simple South Indian meal of rice, sambar, and papadam before the train left. As I was eating, I happened to bite into a small white pebble which had been carelessly left in the rice. It was crushed into pieces and I had to spit out the whole mouthful as it spoiled my lunch. This vividly reminded me, by comparison, of the clean, rich food which had been carefully and lovingly prepared for Baba and his people during the entire Andhra tour. In living with Baba, one has to be ready for comforts as well as discomforts. You have to take life as it comes and accept tasty meals and bland, inedible dishes as his wish. One other thought came to me with great certainty that if I had saved some of the sweets and substituted them for the ill-cooked station food, those sweets would have proved most bitter spiritually. If I had disobeyed, I would have displeased Baba, and the incredible richness of Andhra Darshan tour would have been ruined and lost for me. In following Baba, one should never treat his wish lightly. There can be no compromise with Avatar's instructions because they come from very source of wisdom, love, and compassion. All glory to Meher Baba, the Avatar. It was past midnight when the train pulled into Kurduwadi. Most of the Mandli were asleep, and I did not wish to disturb them. To the few who were awake, I said in a hushed voice, "Goodbye, folks. See you in Baba's time." I got down holding in my hand the small tin suitcase which I still use during my travels. The place where I stepped down onto the platform was close to the spot where 2 weeks earlier I had boarded the train to accompany beloved Baba to Andhra. But now what a difference. I was parting from him, and I felt the whole glorious experience has ended too soon. As I started to walk away, my steps inadvertently led me towards Baba's second class coupe. Foolishly, I hoped that I might get a last glimpse of him, but the doors and windows were closed. I waited there silently. However, on the off chance that his window might be opened, what madness! The closed doors, however, could not obstruct the flow of Baba's presence, and I stood happily glued to the spot until the engine whistled and the train pulled out of the station. For a while, my mind and heart raced along the wheels of Baba's compartment, but eventually coming back to myself, I lifted the little suitcase with a heart both heavy and joyous. I walked my home. Next morning, March 6, Adi drove Baba from Pune station to Bindra House, where Baba had his bath and breakfast. Then Adi drove Baba to Mahabaleshwar, and thus ended the glorious Andhra tour. And yet, the darshan experience of those who met Baba continues. Outwardly, some were merely charmed by his personality but remained unconvinced of his divinity. Some felt the impact of his love and came away feeling that he was an exceptional individual, but not necessarily the God man. Yet even these will find their unconscious journey to God quickened because of his enlivening contact. For a few, however, Baba's call resounded in the deepest recesses of their being, and their hearts responded by accepting him as God become man, the Avatar. For those who were meeting Baba for the first time, it changed the direction of their lives, reorienting them to him. For those who had previously accepted Baba, this darshan tour deepened their conviction in him and gave them a greater awareness of his presence as awakened love. Baba's darshan had many facets as there were people who received it, and it continues to this day. For Baba's darshan is a dispensation in silence of his compassion, his giving of himself as selfless divine love to the measure is ready to receive it. This darshan was
I think
made.
it's to the measure one is ready to receive.
I'm
So,
sorry. Okay.
yeah, his giving, yeah, maybe you can just read.
His giving of himself as a selfless divine love to the measure one is ready to receive it. This darshan was made manifest in Hamirpur district and Andhra, but is available today to any who approached him with love. The story of Baba's Hamirpur and Andhra Darshan tour is also the story of our own hearts once they are awakened by his love. So it is that I often revisit those exciting, exhilarating days. As the many lively incidents file past in my thoughts, the tides of wonder and delight envelop me. When I fly back to those years, I can still visualize the events, and a heartwarming Hamirpur, Andhra nostalgia steals over me. The incidents appear before me like a flock of cranes with wings spread wide, gracefully flying high up in the sky. They seem to suddenly appear for a while, out of nowhere, just to disappear beyond the horizon. The spiritual splendor of those simple, humorous, and profound Baba days often casts a tender spell over me. Like a deep, passionate musical notes, they bring me the joys and agonies of many yearning hearts. Sorry, as I was reading, I got a question in my mind.
Sure.
Uh, the writing is too good for an Indian of those times. What was Bal Natu's background? Anybody? Sorry,
He
I may
was
have
a
missed.
he was a teacher, so I don't know if he
Hmm.
was an English teacher, but yeah, his style is very good and content. The quality of writing is top notch.
Hmm. Top
Yeah.
notch, right? Or was it edited
Maybe
by?
he's yeah, it
Did
was
he?
assisted by a lot of Westerners as well. But I think
Right.
even the base writing is very, very good.
Right. Yeah. It looks flawlessly smooth, and expression looks way better than I've seen with Indian people of those times. So I was wondering if any Westerners have added color to it, maybe or maybe not. I'm not sure. Anyway, the
Yeah,
messages are
yeah,
very gentle, nice.
very
Yeah,
beautiful, very
very
beautiful.
beautiful.
It's beautiful, and Sunilji, he might have Baba's divine grace.
Of course, that's always there. I mean, if he wrote so much detail and such a long account of Baba's travel, it definitely came with a grace, no doubt. Uh, okay,
So
I'll
he was a
continue.
teacher. I'm not sure if he was an English teacher. So maybe it was literature
Mm,
that was his specialization. But either way, very good writing, good
mm,
point.
yeah. Francis Brabazon accompanied Baba, beloved Baba.
Just a pause. But
Yeah.
given we just encountered Francis Brabazon, so
Mm,
Francis Brabazon is a poet, but then you remember his background, right? He's far
I,
from
yeah,
academics and far from things. And so it's just
right.
Baba's grace, I guess. Most of it is how Baba decides which person should do
Mm,
what, and then they do
but
such a
yeah,
fabulous job. Or even Bhau and Lord Beher, he credits.
yes,
I mean, he just says, "I sat with the pen and Baba wrote." Right?
yeah,
He was daunted
incredible.
by the
Yeah.
task. Yeah, when he was tasked with this, he was so daunted and
Mm,
trying to uh, avoid it. And Baba said, "No, you start writing, and it will happen." He's
yeah,
written it so well and so long and so detailed.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed Francis Brabazon name the moment I finished my thought. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Francis Brabazon accompanied beloved Baba during the entire Andhra tour, and on his return to Australia, he wrote a thrilling and graphic poetic account of his journey with the Godman. The following excerpt from that book which also represents the feeling of many a heart, expresses how deeply he was touched by Meher Baba's love during this Andhra Darshan. Whether Meher Baba is the totality of Godhood or not, I have personally no way of knowing. I can only measure to my own degree, but to that degree, he is the embodiment of that ideal which I call God. Since beauty and knowledge has been the only God I have ever worshipped or pursued, and since this man appears to my eyes as the very embodiment and manifestation of beauty and knowledge, I call him God. Not only the all forgiveness and humor in his eyes, but the very movement of his hands and body have unlocked regions within me which were unknown to me before. No man or woman, no flight of thought, no aesthetic experience, no sublimity of nature has touched the depths of me as this man has. I have met no one or experienced no experience which has melted my heart or sharpened my intellect as he has. So it was that when the people of Andhra in their thousands folded their hands before him in devotion, I, in each one of them, folded my hands and bowed in my heart before the purity and completeness of his beauty. My own goal is that in that purity, I become annihilate. That man is the God man who makes the path easy, nay, who wipes out the path altogether, goes straight into the heart of the matter and gives one realization of oneself. There's a footnote 36 something.
I think it's from Journey with God,
God, Journey with God. Okay, this must
which,
be the
by the
book
way, we
that.
haven't read.
Yeah, so that's a cue for
Stay
you.
with
Next
God.
one,
Yeah, next one. Yeah. Stay
Journey
with
with God.
God is what we read. Journey with God we can do next. Yes, very good idea.
Yeah.
Given it's Francis Amazon, you have to think whether it's
Hmm.
Saturday or Sunday now. Tough choice.
Yeah.
By the way, before
Yeah.
you continue, these
Hmm.
two paragraphs, can actually be something that all of us connect to, right? When our
Yes.
initial days, when we, I mean, especially for people like me who came as first generation. So this connects, this summarizes exactly the way we experienced Baba, right? So if you take this
Absolutely.
whole thing,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, very
Absolutely.
very
I
beautiful,
was
very
very
beautifully put.
written. Yeah. Only thing I was feeling a little jealous of Francis Brabazon's experience. I think he was there physically, and
Yeah,
probably what he experienced, we all crave to experience. So
indeed, indeed.
his sanskaras must have been much more superior, obviously.
Yes.
Hmm. So we need to go to the point where there was 36.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Many seasons have passed by, but the spring of Baba's darshan continues to remain fresh in my memory with its glowing blossoms. Finding oneself in the love orbit of the man, God man, is a wonderful and exciting experience. The gift of his love opens the hearts of his dear ones to his eternal beauty, his glory, his existence is love. At the close of this volume, Meher Baba's messages given during the darshan days flash through my mind and stir my heart. Each of them has the superb depth of Avatar's wisdom and warmth of his magnetic love. But how can my words, which are poor props, even reach the profound sanctity of Baba's presence felt in one's heart? To choose some concluding statements of beloved Baba from those days to share with those who now seek him and his darshan with open hearts has become for me a delightfully confusing task. At this juncture, out of the many matchless messages given by Meher Baba, I recall his following words of penetrating beauty and divinity, the words that let his unconditional compassion, love, and divine assurance trickle through. Everything is mine except myself. Myself is for those who love me. I am the ancient one, the highest of the high. Love me, love me, love me, and you will find me. Let the bells ring. All glory to Meher Baba, to him, the avatar.
You can read this again.
Everything is mine except myself. Myself is for those who love me. I am the ancient one, the highest of the high. Love me, love me, love me, and you will find me. So beautiful.
Amazing. This is again t-shirt material.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So this is the end of volume
Yeah,
5. And I think let's start volume 6 next Saturday. So that is.
yeah. I had something to share.
So I will probably stop recording, and
Yeah,
then if there's nothing else to comment on this, is that fine with everybody?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
fine.
fine. Yeah.
Sunilji,
Okay,
Hmm.
Jay Baba.
Karthik, are you knocking off or
No, no,
you're
I'm just
you
stopping
you need
recording.
you're stopping recording? Okay.